So now I will request Yogasaki-san to give a brief intro and presentation from his side. Yogasaki-san.
Okay. So I will start sharing the document. Please. Can you see the document?
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
Okay. So let's start. So I have explained about the JICA. JICA is the government agency of Japan, and JICA delivers ODA for the government of Japan. And it is chartered with assisting economic and social growth in developing countries and the promotion of international cooperation. I am the JICA's contractor in charge of technical advisor in ICT industry development in Pakistan. And I have more than 30 years experience in the ICT industry in Japan, starting from IBM Japan. I have experience in the project with people from the US, UK, China, Vietnam, Israel, India, Russia, and so on. So I want to work with the Pakistani again. And you can see here the Japanese profile. Japan is a country with islands like this. And it is almost having a size of half the population of Pakistan. Ethnic group is 97.9% Japanese, and the language is only Japanese. And Islamic people rate 0.2%, but we have the mosques inside Tokyo area and the other area, and also the halal restaurants in the many areas like that. Don't worry about that. And ICT spendings in Japan is 116 billion US dollar in 2019, according to Statista. Next chart is showing us the Japanese ICT market volume in the worldwide market. Japan is 6.4% of the worldwide market, and half the size of the Chinese market is the Japanese market. Japan is having a strong demand in the ICT sector, especially for the advanced technology such as AI, IoT, blockchain, cyber security, on the top of the development of the mobile applications, website creations, and also game producing, and so on. The import of ICT services is around 80 billion US dollar, according to ICT white paper in 2021 in Japanese government, and the demand is doubling 9 years. And because of the aging population in Japan compared to the Pakistan, you can see the Japanese population shrinking. So the government estimates almost 590,000 engineers will be lacking in the domestic ICT industry by 2030 in the middle scenario. This chart shows which country is successfully engaging with Japan. Nowadays, 52% of the new offshore development business is handled by Vietnamese companies. One of the companies, FPT Software, largest ICT company in Vietnam, is having a Japanese subsidiary with a number of the 2,000 employees in Japan, with the revenue size is 272 million US dollar. And other neighborhood of you is Bangladesh 9%, and the example is BIJT Japan. The CEO is Japanese, and 90 people is in Japan, and 800 engineers in Bangladesh. Is having a revenue size is 4.5 million US dollar. Then if you feel real demand which you can participate, please think about the partner in Japan. And you should create the role in Japan who can become a Japanese business practitioner becoming the representative, and this representative can expand the Pakistani operations for Japanese market. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Yogasaki-san. Now I will request Auchi-san to please share his comments. Auchi-san.
Thank you very much, Amar. I'm going to share my screen, so please give me just a moment. May I please confirm if everybody can see my screen?
Yes, please. You can please start.
Thank you. So my name is Shafi Ochi. I'm based out of Tokyo. I'm originally from Karachi. I moved away from Pakistan in 1999 and subsequently came to Japan in 2003. Since being in Japan, I've gone through a number of iterations of working within the financial industry and experiencing Japan, both from inside Japan and also having a short stint living in Singapore as well. So during this session, there's going to be a lot of things which already Yogasaki-san has shared with you all, but we can provide a little bit more details and obviously towards the end, as Amar mentioned, have some Q&A. From a company perspective, Birdie Ventures, we started in February of 2021. We have offices in Japan, Kiso, which is a very lovely place, similar to Naran Kagan, based in Nagano, and in Tokyo. In Japan, we primarily have our customer experience team, essentially client-facing. Then in Pakistan, we have offices in Karachi and Islamabad, where we perform our R&D and our solution development. I'm also pleased to share that earlier this year in September, one of our new joiners who joined us out of NUST last year in August, joined us in Japan as a software engineer, and she has transitioned to Japan, has been living over here for the past few months. What do? So we enable communities, we enable SMEs. With regards to communities, we partner with the local city governments and Chamber of Commerce to develop platforms for the local small businesses over here in Japan. And we partner with SMEs in the private sector to create products covering sales DX, which is currently in flight right now, and also in the agri-tech space, which we are currently planning for the next couple of years. With regards to I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. So just a little bit background about myself. So as I shared briefly, I've been working within the financial industry since 2004 and decided to start Birdie Ventures here in Japan with a view of sharing some of the experiences from the financial industry and allowing the companies in Japan to benefit from technology innovation and DX. Now, the purpose of today's session is to share from my perspective, having been living in Japan since 2003 and working over here and also starting a technology and digital company, what exactly does it mean to be working in Japan? What are some of the key Japan market dynamics? So I'm going to present a few facts and some context around those facts. Fact number one, so Japan has more than half of the world's oldest founded companies. Now that fact says a lot. That means the focus in Japan is in regards to longevity as opposed to having a short-term vision. As Yogasaki-san earlier alluded to as well, it is all about building trust. So building of trust and building of long-term partnership comes first and supersedes anything over contractual agreements, and also transparency and governance. So some of the things that I've been experiencing while living in Japan is we talk about what we can do in terms of providing business benefits before preparing contracts, right? And a word of mouth goes a long way as we all know, in Japan, it's all about mutual trust. So a lot of emphasis should be placed when thinking about Japan in terms of building trust, providing the level of transparency to the companies and to the stakeholders over here, which leads to that building of trust. As an example, one of the things that we are doing as part of Birdie Ventures is when we have our sprint meetings, sprint review meetings as part of our solution development, we actually share the recording of these meetings with our clients. We want to make sure that there is complete transparency every step of the way, which helps them to really appreciate what we are doing, makes them feel included as part of the solution development, and also helps building of the trust. Fact number 2, so in Japan, unproven technology risk is often a concern when assessing the adoption of new technologies. So what does it really mean? So compared to some of the other parts of the world, many times one would position a technology solution provider or technology company with a lot of new flashy names like Node.js, React, MERN stack, mean stack, etc. But one of the things that we have to be really careful about is Japan is more focused on something which is proven. So obviously, we also have to deliver solutions which are innovative. So what it essentially means for us is rather than showcasing the technology tools and the components, the shiny bits that we will use to deliver the solution, we should really spend a lot of effort in understanding the business processes and trying to translate the solution into business benefit rather than demonstrating that we will deliver a solution using Node.js or React or SAP, etc. So when we are interacting with some of the clients over here, we share what the proposed solution would do in terms of providing business benefits, how it will really translate delivering a business benefit by changing the old operating model to a new target operating model, and what business benefits it will deliver. Showcasing of new technology tools and a lot of technology jargon really just instills fear, and people tend to take a step back. That's one of the things that I have observed, which I thought that I'll share with you all. Fact number 3, Japanese companies have the fewest product recalls amongst the top 5 global manufacturing economies. Now, again, that means a lot over here in Japan. As we all know, made in Japan equals to it just works. It doesn't break, right? And that's something which I have myself firsthand experienced, even between Japan and Singapore, right? When we move into a new office space, or when we move into a new environment or new apartment over here in Japan, we expect that things just work. That is one of the key important factors that we all have to really think about, is there needs to be a lot of focus on predictability and quality, right? As Yoga-san earlier alluded to, a lot of focus on testing, a lot of focus on reducing the amount of bugs within the code. The appetite for failure here in Japan is really, really low. So how do we really ensure our clients, or I rather would not use the word client, our collaboration partners, how do we ensure to them that what we deliver, what we solution for them will actually work when it's put into the environment? That is the confidence that we need to really build. And contrary to the Western economies like US, UK, for example, where we can really sometimes get by saying, sorry, there was an issue or there was a bug. In Japan, a bug is actually quite a big deal. So that is something which we really, really have to focus on, and a big difference between doing something for the Western economies versus doing something for Japan. So that is the 3 facts that I wanted to anchor our conversation around today. And obviously, you may have a lot of questions. So any questions, please feel free to email across or or route via Amar and team, and I'll be more than happy to help navigate you all on how to be successful here in Japan. Back to you, Amar.
Thank you very much, Hiroshi-san. Now I'll request Suzuki-san to please brief us about Japan IT Week and the opportunities for Pakistani companies in Japanese market.
Yes, I'm happy to introduce you about the Japan IT Week, which is the largest IT trade show in Japan. And this Japan IT Week is held 4 times a year, 2 times in Tokyo, 1 in Osaka and Nagoya, in some local cities. And the biggest one and the most international one is the spring one held in April. So this is the one that I'm recommending you to exhibit and also proposing PSEBs to organize the Pakistan Pavilion. I don't know how to go to the next page. Oh, here. Okay. And so in Japan IT Week, so it has a 32 years history since 1991. So it's a very long history show. And under the umbrella of Japan IT Week, now we have 11 events held at the same time. From, as you can see, from the AI to the e-commerce, digital marketing, sales digital transformation, cloud, and also like the information security, software development and apps, embedded, IoT, and what's going to be new is going to be the metaverse. So that means, this time, I'm proposing like the PSEB to have like a pavilion in the software and app development sector. However, if you say you want to have like to be exhibiting a specific sector, so if you are focusing on like the cybersecurity, then you can also have a booth, individual booth in the information security sector. And we're going to have like 800 exhibitors and 55,000 visitors. So it is a very crowded event with a lot of visitors, mainly coming from Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and also China. So it's like a Japan and also like a East Asian event. So this is the photo of both before COVID-19. And so before COVID-19, we had like many national pavilions, like for example, like from the South Asian countries, like from Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and then the Southeast Asian countries, like from Vietnam, Philippines, Singapore, and East Asian countries, like from South Korea, China, Taiwan, and then the European and also like the North American companies were also forming a national pavilion. So upon all of the exhibitors, so around like a 35% to 40% of the exhibitors were international companies with a lot of international pavilions as well. And so I'm going to show you some photos of like your neighboring countries, how they were participating. So for example, so now the largest participation was Bangladesh. They're having like around 100 square meter booth with around 35 companies exhibiting, having like a small sector for them. And also they're also doing like a 15 minutes to 20 minutes presentation at their booth to introduce about each company's technology and also about what they can do in Japan. And the next one would be the Vietnam. So they're also having the same size with the Bangladesh, with around like 100 square meter, with around 25 to 30 companies exhibiting every year. And as Yogasaki-san has explained, Vietnam is doing very well in the Japanese market because they're matching the Japanese market and also they're well educated also in the Japanese. And this is like for the Philippines. So every year there's around like 6 to 7 companies exhibiting, also sharing the booth. And then the next would be the Canada. They were exhibiting in more in the AI and the big data sector. So they were focusing in that sector to introduce about their strength in that AI, blockchain, and big data sector. In Hungary, they were usually exhibiting in like the e-commerce sector, having around like the 6 to 8 companies introducing about their latest technologies. And this is like a pavilion organized by the National Union. I'm supporting like the Bangladesh, Nigeria, and Kenya companies in 2019. And this is the entire floor plan of the Japan IT Week. So it's divided to 11 sectors, but we don't have any like walls between each show. That's why the visitors can be walking from one show to another show, just passing around. And this blue sector is where most of the international companies are participating. It is the software and the app development expo. And making it bigger, so this is the entrance. And so at the entrance, we have like a Bangladesh having a big booth pavilion. And also on the same aisle, we also have like the green for the Vietnam pavilion. And then just beside the entrance, just beside Bangladesh, now we have secured the space for the P7 for the Pakistan pavilion. That's why, so it's going to be a very prime location just near the entrance of the Japan IT Week. And well, this is something similar to what Jogasaki-san has also introduced. But so until 2009, before the Lehman shock, 80% of the offshore from Japanese companies were going to China. And then from 2010, like the Vietnam and also Philippines decided to exhibit in the Japan IT Week and then to penetrate the Japanese market. And this is like some kind of question here, like from what country do you prefer to do as an offshore partner? And as you can see, Vietnam is like the number one, around 48%. And then the Philippines and India is also the number 2, 3. And also, but so what's interesting is like for the Bangladesh, they have been started exhibiting in Japan IT Week from 5 years before. And now they're also going to be quite well recognized in the Japanese industry by exhibiting in Japan IT Week and also showing what they can do. So now Japanese companies now understand more about like the Bangladesh. And that's what I really want for the Pakistan to also to follow, because I've heard from the commercial counselor of the Japanese embassy that the Pakistan companies have a very high technology of the IT, but they're not really well known in Japan. So if they can come in and continuously participate in Japan IT Week, I'm quite sure that your business will be growing step by step. And this is some kind of thing that so we do to support the international exhibitors. This is going to be a new service from the next Japan IT Week spring. In the past, we had like this kind of appointment setting system, but it was only available in Japanese. But from next April, we have made it available for the international companies as well. So when you register at the exhibitor website, you can choose what kind of service you can provide. And at the same time, when the visitors register, they're going to also register what kind of service they're looking for. And so if your service and if the service of the visitor is looking for matches, then you're going to be able to send out an email through the system to arrange a meeting with the buyers. That means that so even though you don't have any network in Japan at the moment, you can still contact the buyers from your side. So this is going to be a very good system for the first time participation from Pakistan. And also, how to maximize your business in Japan IT Week. Jogasaki-san has already explained that so Japanese people mainly speak Japanese. Of course, we're educated in English. However, having some kind of like a signboards in Japanese will be much easier and also much attractive for the Japanese visitors to get in your booth. That's why I recommend you to have some kind of signboard in Japanese. And also, like for example, like the red one says like so Japanese available, and also this blue one says like ready for technical meetings. So the show management will be providing these kind of like signboards. It's going to be available on the exhibitor website. So that's why, so if you are like a first time in Japan, you should tell them that so you're the first time in Japan. Or if you have a Japanese interpreter, you should tell them that so you have Japanese availability. Or if you're looking for an agent, please tell them why and your purpose of exhibiting. It's going to be much easier for the Japanese buyers and visitors to understand the purpose of the Pakistan companies to be exhibiting. And I'm really happy to support the participation of the P7 members to Japan IT Week as your first step to expand your business in Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Suzuki-san, for such a beautiful presentation. So I will request Jogasaki-san to share the experience of having a Pakistan booth last year and this year at Japan IT Week, and then I'll request Shishka-san to say a few words about what her experience is about participation and doing business in Pakistan. Jogasaki-san.
Okay, so this year, Embassy of Pakistan in Japan represents Pakistani ICT industries in the Japan IT Week spring this year. And I was explainer there, and I have talked with many people who are interested in the Pakistan booth from Japan side. And which I have found is Japanese companies are not knowing about the Pakistani ICT industry before, but after knowing that Pakistan ICT is very advanced, so they're very much interested in what kind of services you can provide. And some companies, like a machinery company, already have interest to hire someone in Pakistan, like the CAE engineers. So if there is some specific requirements, I have transferred to Mr. Salman in the PSAB, and he was working for that kind of opportunity inside Pakistan. So I have found that there is, even though no participant from Pakistan, there is a demand, and I could catch such, and I transferred the opportunity to Pakistan side. So if you are there, they are interested in talking with you about your services, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Okasaki-san. I request Shishka-san to please say about share of her experience working from Pakistan and for Japanese market and how it can help our companies.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I just joined the seminar as one of our listeners, so I didn't prepare anything, first of all. So I don't know what kind of experience I can share. First of all, let me I am running company in Islamabad since 2020. We have been developing software for Japanese companies, and we have several projects currently. So honestly, my experience is quite tough because I'm foreigner. First of all, I'm Japanese woman and living in Pakistan, and I'm quite having a good experience as well and a bad experience as well, honestly. But nowadays, like I feel like I think there are lots of potential here because Japanese company is really taking interest in about Pakistani ICT engineer through from me. This is my personal experience because I become a face of Pakistan for Japanese company, and I become a face of Japanese face for Pakistani people. So what they are like trying to, through from me, they are like trying to understanding each other. So I have personally, I feel like potential for the future. So I don't know what to say.
Give us a couple of tips to Pakistani companies when we are going to exhibit in Japan, what they should be considering.
Actually, I said I have potential. I see we have potential, but the thing is, like, a Japanese company require a Japanese speaker from Pakistani engineer. So, but the thing is, we don't have like much ICT engineers, so they have to cope up both of sides. We have to, try to understanding each other. So for Pakistani company, like some of Japanese company doesn't require like Japanese language. So hopefully they can reach to that kind of Japanese company. And I found some of company, Pakistani company already working with Japanese company just in English, not communicating in Japanese. So hopefully like JICA can support these kind of things. And we can develop the business between both of countries.
Thank you very much, Shishka-san. So now I think we should move towards the question and answers. And the first question I see over here is from Pakistani companies planning to do business in Japan. is language a barrier? So I think Jogasaki-san is the best person to reply to this question.
Yeah, so there is several patterns of the company in Japan, and especially for, maybe the large company like Toyota or Honda, Sony, Panasonic, such global companies is requiring in the offshoring in English. And I have worked for the Indian-based offshore company, and they are having a lot of offshore development site for not for the Japanese market, also for the overseas market. So there is a big demand for the overseas market software development from such enterprise company, and the requirement is very big. And also, a lot of Japanese companies are based in only working for Japan, because the Japanese ICT market itself is very big. So you can choose if you want to penetrate into Japanese market, you should participate in Japanese language. That is maybe firstly, I have seen not so many people can speak Japanese in Pakistan. So what is recommending is you should find a partner first. So because the ICT companies in Japan is lacking the ICT engineers in Japan. So they are also searching the partner in the world and looking for the solutions companies in the world. So you should put you are demanding the partner in Japan. So if they recognize the sign, maybe they can contact you to have the discussion about the business discussion. So there is very various kinds of the industries. Like the major industry in Japan is manufacturing. Not for maybe you are not in the such kind of industry in Pakistan, but manufacturing and financing is the biggest two industry, and also the gaming is also big, and retail business and e-commerce is also big. So if you want to talk with a specialized solution with Japanese companies, you should put your strengths in the panel and talk with them. I recommend about the looking for the partners and also talking with the potential clients. Potential clients, maybe they prefer to work with Japanese company and through Japanese company to reach to you. So such kind of operation is also possible.
Thank you, Mr. Jogasaki-san.
Yeah.
So the next question I'm taking is, are Japanese companies more focused on adding skill labors, developer, etc., or to hire in-house squads or getting off-the-shelf solutions implemented from them? So I think, Aochi-san, if you can answer to this question, what Japanese companies are preferring. They wanted human resources, they were looking for solutions, or they are looking for getting team to implement their solutions elsewhere.
Sure. In Japan, there's a lot more emphasis on getting complete what they call package software over here in Japan. So meaning essentially, rather than typical outsourcing model where you would do a T&M based approach where you assign engineers, they're looking for entire solutions to be developed and also supported by the technology companies. So that's the more preferred model. However, there is more and more interest now in introducing capabilities within the organizations now that there's a huge push towards DX or digital transformation. So companies are changing the way that they are organized internally, where they would like to have more technology-enabled workforce also. But primarily the focus is what they call package solution, i.e. end-to-end product with proper support and maintenance.
Thank you very much, Ashish-san. So next two questions I'm going to combine and come towards Suzuki-san. First question is from a participant that whether there are going to be some startup pods available. Like in GITEX, they provide a 2 square meter pod, and in LEAP, they provide a 4 square meter pod. And also, if you being the organizer can help our companies to open up offices in Japan, and if you have some information, whether it's easy or difficult to open office in Japan for any Pakistani company.
Okay, for the first question, so when you exhibit individually, so our booth, we don't have a very small booth. So the smallest booth is going to be 6 meters by 2.7 meters, which means 16.2 square meter. So which is going to be like a middle-sized booth. However, if you're going to participate as a group inside like the PSET pavilion, yes, it's going to be able to divide. That's why, so in that case, if you want to participate in a small booth, or maybe just like have one poster, then you should also ask PSEB to be your representative to be for your booth booking. And for the second question, for like the opening up an office or representative, I think that's so Mr. Yochi or also Jogasaki-san is going to be more professional than me.
So I'll refer that question to Jogasaki-san first. How Pakistani companies can open office in Japan?
Open office Japan. So there is many consultant company, and they can assist for the outside Japan companies to open their office in Japan. So not so complicated in Pakistan. So very simple and very easy to create. But you should find you should find first the opportunity there. And if you have the concrete understanding of the Japanese market, then create the office there. Yeah, maybe I recommend to create a partner first. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jogasaki-san. So now I'll move towards Mr. Shahbaz Hamid. So he can brief participants about what PSEB is offering this time for our companies and how they can participate in it, because I don't see any other question which is particularly relevant to this particular session. Shahbaz, please.
Thank you so much, Salman Saab, and thank you everybody for joining this webinar. I see some familiar faces. Hasib Bhai from Texel, Ahmed from DevCrew. Good to see you all once again. So Japan is let me just give you a small overview. Dr. Jogasaki-san, Salman Saab, Amar Saab, and Yochi-san, and also Suzuki-san have given a good overview of what Japan is for us. When we talk about Pakistan, we are really lagging behind when it comes to Japan. We are focusing on a few countries, and I feel that Japan is a country that we've missed out on. We only have around $15 to $16 million of exports to Japan, and which is less than, I think, 0.6% of the total share of our exports. That's the first thing. The second thing about Japan IT Week is that once you come with us to Japan IT Week in the Pakistani Pavilion, each one of you will get an interpreter who will be there to help you talk with the Japanese companies, which is a plus point as well. We are going for a 64.8 square meter pavilion, which is not as big as Bangladesh and Vietnam, but this is the first time we're going, so I think this is good enough. We're going to have 12 to 13 companies coming with us, and it's a market which we haven't really touched. It's an opportunity that we haven't even looked at, so I feel it is the right time after detailed discussion with Dr. Jogasaki-san and Suzuki-san. I feel it's the right time to get into this market. Japan IT Week obviously was not in full flow for the past 2-3 years because of COVID. And we feel that this year is going to have one of the biggest footfalls ever. So it is something that we should all explore. And being in the Pakistani pavilion, we will be asking for, as the Bangladeshi people used to, Bangladeshi pavilion used to present 15, 20 minutes over what Bangladeshi companies are. We're going to ask for a slot for ourselves. The similar thing that we did in GITEX, where we had a 45-minute session in which we talked about Pakistan and what Pakistan has to offer. So we're going to try different things, and all this will hopefully combine and lead to a very healthy and beneficial Japan IT Week exhibition for all Pakistani companies who are part of that. Another thing that I would strongly recommend, I understand that Pakistani companies are more service-oriented rather than product-oriented. I would strongly recommend the product-oriented companies to come with us, because Japan is the epitome of manufacturing and product companies. So that is something that, if you're not into that right now, you might like to move towards that too. So move towards that. So that is something that I would like the companies, any product companies that are out there, this is a great opportunity. So these are the main things. And we are closing our applications on the 27th of December, after which we will go ahead and inshallah attend this event. So I urge all of you to be a part of this good experience.
Thank you very much, Shabasa. So are there any more questions or anyone who is interested to say something? Because we are running towards the end of this webinar. Yes, the question is that can Pakistani companies still register their interest to join the PSCB stall at Japan IT Week?
Yes, 27th is the deadline, 27th of December.
So you can. So your question is regarding visa. So we'll definitely help and facilitate you. We are already in discussion with Suzuki-san. We are already in discussion with JICA, JETRO, Pakistani consulate in Japan, Japanese consulate in Pakistan. So we'll try to help you out. And that's why we would like you to immediately apply so we can close this process as early as possible. So JICA has committed that they will provide us all the visa support, and we are hopeful we'll be able to get some visas for you people.
So maybe Suzuki-san, RS Japan also can support the visa. Suzuki-san.
Yes,
yeah?
yes. We are going to be like the supporting organization to send you the visa invitation letter.
So there is a question on Facebook that youth population of Japan is shrinking quickly. Pakistan has 64% population around 30 years, but it's unskilled. Does Japan plan any skill development program? So I think, Yogasaki-san, you can reply on behalf of JICA and JETRO that do you have any plans to organize trainings in Pakistan?
Organize trainings for Pakistan or what?
Like organize trainings for Pakistani IT graduates or other graduates that you were talking about, the internship program in Japanese companies.
Internship. So government is providing the international internship program and all over the world. And I have submitted some universities like NAST and RAMS and FAST about this internship program, and they are very interested in this. And the professors are submitting to the students already. And if you want to know the information, I will provide you.
So there are certain training programs from PSCB which we are leading for soft skill development, for the other training programs or skill-based trainings. So there are a lot of training initiatives already going on in Pakistan. So you can take advantage from there, get some skills, and you can go over there. Sought by the Japanese startups at the moment, there are a couple of questions related to what kind of services and products they are looking for. The Japanese people are looking for. I think this forum is slightly different from that. If you have any question related to particular market, particular product or services, you can always come to PSCB. Amar Saab, Shahbaz, and myself are available, and we'll provide you all the information and brief what you need. So as we are towards the end of this session, we are left with around 5 minutes, and I think we should try to be on time. So I'll take this last question, and then we'll move towards closing. So what if a company which is not registered PSCB apply for participation? You can apply for PSCB membership. It's very easy. It's online. You can complete the process in 2 days. And meanwhile, you can apply for your Japan IT Week also. So you can do both things together. So I will request Amar Saab to say a few closing words, and we'll close this formal session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Salman. I expect all the companies that have shown interest with joining us. There were 65 companies that showed interest in joining us at the Japan IT Week. And I expect a lot of those companies are trying their best to exhibit at the Pakistan Pavilion and Japan IT Week Spring Edition. So we are talking about the Spring Edition, not the January edition, as someone asked, which is in April. The company that have already signed up for the newsletter and have responded to us, kindly send us your pay orders ASAP so we can book the space for you. We can book your slot and confirm you on the 28th or the 29th as soon as we're able to do that. And thank you very much for. I hope that each and every one of you participates in this once in a blue moon, once in a lifetime opportunity, because Japan market is opening up for Pakistani diaspora, for Pakistani companies, and this is a very, very good time to hit the nail in the coffin to work with the Japanese companies. It's the right time to work with them because there's a lot of opportunity that we see from Japan to Pakistan and from Pakistan to Japan, vice versa, in terms of human skill development, as well as our software products, sending our software solutions being sold to Japanese market. So guys, I'm expecting a lot of interest from you guys, and I hope to see you in Japan.